Hello everyone and welcome back to another video at my YouTube channel. Today I am making a birthday card with this cute little dog stamp from Stampingbella. It's called Nacho, and I thought he just had the funniest little look on his face, and the little sentiment says say what, and so I just thought this would be cute for a birthday card. And so I'm using my Misty since it's a new stamp, and I want to make sure I got a good impression. So I used my Misty so I could stamp it twice, and I used Simon Says Intense. No, I used Memento Tuxedo Black because I was doing some cup coloring. I could have used my Simon Says ink. It wouldn't have mattered. You can use that for Copic as well, but I did use my Memento. And so now I'm just starting the Copic coloring, and I used the package as a reference because it has a really cute color image of the stamp on the package, so you can get a lot of cues for shadows and things like that, colors from a stamp set if it has a color image on the packaging. It's just a little cheat so you don't have to think about colors. Anyway, so my first set of colors here for the lighter portions of him, I used a YR30, an E53, E51, E50, and an E33. And the E33 was kind of more the shadows, but I did go back in the end with a C3 to really make the shadows on the dog. And on this part of the dog, I went from lightest to darkest, back out to lightest. On the rest of the dog, I actually went from darkest to lightest, and then just did some additional blending as needed. I kind of go both ways. If I'm not real sure of where I want my shadows to be, I will definitely do lightest to darkest, but this time, since I had this picture to go by, I did know where I wanted my shadows to be, so I started with my darkest here. And I just did like little light flicking motions and some of the tiny little places on his legs and between his toes, just a real thin line with the tip of my marker, but mostly just little flicking motions to blend it all very nicely. And it's not a very big you know, image. I mean, it's a little tall, but it's not, you know, it's not a lot of surface area there, so everything stays pretty wet and pretty easy to blend, and I just work the whole image at one time. So just keep flicking until I get it all filled in and blended. You can do this with a little bit more strokes and stuff if you want to have more of a textured look, or you could take a textured towel like terry cloth or something and soak it with your zero solution and just lightly press on there, and it'll give it some texture to make it look a little more fur-like. I went into the ears there with some R30, and then I think I blended it out with the E50 or E51, can't remember. And then I put some shadows in the eyes with the C1. And that pretty much does the coloring for the little dog. Now I do, and I went out of the lines a little bit, so I'm just taking my zero and cleaning up those spots. I do want to tell you about the end of the video. I had a video gremlin, I guess. It ate some of my footage at the end, so you don't actually see me putting it together, but you do see all the most important parts of how to do things. Like here I'm taking the distress ink, and I'm going to do some ink layering and smooshing and stuff. So you get to see how to do all that and everything, but just not the actual assembly or the inside of the card. I do have a picture of the inside of the card. I used a honeybee stamp set Celebrate for the inside of the card, which is both of these stamps are new that I just got in my most recent Simon Says stamp haul. So here you can see that I'm just layering up, and in between I'm taking it to my heat tool and drying and layering and drying some more. And then after it's all dry, then I'm spritzing it with my distress sprayer and just picking up some areas with my paper towel. And I did this, I think, about 3 times, 2 or 3 times, just to get some more variation in the color. And then I'm taking this brick stencil by Tim Holtz, and I'm going to use a little fired brick Oxide, Distress Oxide ink. And I'm just not real solid, you know, doing this, just kind of a random lighter and darker in different areas. And those little areas making up the bricks are kind of delicate, so I did more of a pouncing versus swiping motion for the stencil. Although it is sturdy, but those just little pieces are just very tiny. And so that looked pretty good. And so then I wanted to spray it again and use my paper towel again. And that pretty much does it for that piece. And then I did take some cream colored cardstock, and I ran it through this embossing folder that had these clocks on it. And now with Vintage Photo, I'm just lightly going over the raised areas just to give it some color and have those stand out. And you'll see how that looks in the finished card. And I just want to thank everybody for stopping by and watching this videos. I appreciate everybody commenting, thumbs upping, and subscribing to my channel. And if you're interested in these products, they'll be linked below. Thanks for watching.